And we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And we have a very special guest today. We are here with singer-songwriter Ryann Eve. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great. Was there a delay there, or did you just? Could you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit of a delay, a little bit of static, but it's all good. I can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can hear me now? Okay. No, it's no worries. I have no problems like asking technical questions or whatever. I've had a situation where the first 7 minutes of our interview was muted and they couldn't hear
Oh.
either of us because I ran those ads I was telling you about. So
hmm
Ryan is only 15 years old. She's been singing since you were 8 or 4 or
It's probably younger. I don't know. I mean, I took lessons, I think at like 4 or 5, like actual lessons,
right.
but definitely for as long as I can remember, I'd say.
Right. And my cousin Amy is her mom, and she had posted some of her songs on Facebook, and I really thought they were great. And I shared them with my family and my kids and my girlfriend. And then I was like, oh, well, this podcast is like older people, and it's people who have a 50-year career. I was like, I want to interview her then, though. And then you did this other song called Same Shirt, Different Day. And I was like, all right, that's it. This song is amazing. I'm going to like interview her. And then I was like, okay, you've got some videos, but you don't really have a music video. And I'm a video editor. And your dad went out and shot the video. I edited it. You performed in it, and it's
hmm
great. And we made a music video. So it's so crazy. It's, it's so cool that we did that. So I'm going to just get to some ads here real quick. I'm going to go full screen, so relax and drink some water. And then I'll come back and we'll start a little chat. Okay, so let's see. I am number 5. Everybody, these are the ads here. First, let me announce that I am now with the Geek Vibes Network. This is so crazy. This is a huge website. They have 50,000 Twitter followers. They're on Instagram. They have sports, news, podcasts. They have tech and gaming stuff. It's a huge, huge website. And they have welcomed me to their network a couple days ago. And my audio podcast and my video interviews are going to be on there. So, hey to Kanan and Tia and the whole gang. Thank you so much. This is the first time, my first shout out for Geek Vibes Network. Thank you so much. I also have this partner, Restream. I'm going to show a quick ad right now. So Restream is a service that takes your live and sends it to several places like YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It also has a live studio, which is very cool. You can roll in video, clips, pictures. It's amazing. It's an all-in-one platform. That's Restream. And also, I have this software called Ecamm that's running this little internet TV show right now. It's same thing. It's like a Jimmy Kimmel show. I can roll in. I have different cameras. I can roll in clips. I can roll in pictures. I can play music. I can play sound effects. And you guys can all comment live. If you have any questions for Ryan, comment. And all you have to do is go to this live post that's right now on Facebook and YouTube. And in the comments, you'll see a Restream link, a Geek Vibes Nation link, and an Ecamm link. And man, I'm exhausted from doing ads, but Ryan is back. Hey, sorry.
Yep.
I got to get through all that stuff, but I'm so excited to be part of the Geek Vibes Network. So, Ryan, we have a
hmm
picture of you. I'm going to put up right here of you at 8 years old singing at the Join the Band Music Lessons School. Only 8 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And we're
It's
going to show a clip here real quick of you singing Alicia Keys' That Girl Is on Fire. That's the name of the
yeah, I
song.
think this girl's on fire, I think.
This Girl's on Fire.
Yeah.
And you're hitting the high notes at 8. It's so crazy. Your dad sent this to me. Greg, and by the way, shout out to Greg. Greg did an interview. He's done a bunch of TV shows, and he just did this Netflix show, Bruce Brothers, which is very funny. He's a showrunner for that, and he shot the video. And we have had an interview, an audio podcast interview that I posted a little while ago on Apple Podcasts and Google and Spotify. That is a great interview for anybody who wants to be a writer in television. So check that out. Okay, so we are going to show this clip. I know it's for me. I don't want to show clips when I'm 8, um,
It's
but it shows how far you've come. It's amazing. I mean, because I can't believe you're 15 and you're making this music. It's so crazy. So let's show this clip and then you can talk about it. We'll just show it for like a minute. Here we go.
Mhm.
She's just a girl and she's on fire. More than a fantasy. More like a highway. She's living in a world that's on fire. Filled with catastrophe. She knows she'll fly away. Oh, she got both feet on the ground. And she's burning it down. Oh, she got her head in the clouds. And she's now breaking down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire.
Okay, that is so cool. Ryan, you're only 8 years old. You're up there on stage. I mean, what did that
I
feel like? Was that your first performance?
Oh, I mean, I think 8 was when I started performing out, if you could really call it that. But I mean, I'm just shocked by how short my hair was back then. But
Yeah, yeah, it was very
I
short.
oh my goodness, it feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, that was the probably the first time I performed out. It was at Roxy, I think on Sunset Strip or Sunset Boulevard, one to two. But we basically it was this organization called Join the Band. My parents wanted me to do something with my free time, and so they popped me in there, and I just became the singer of this little band they put together. And since like 8 to 10, I think was the 2 years of my life, I was just singing. I joined the band, singing at little like venues that they would organize for us, and having like a little taste of what Stardom was. I mean, I thought I was a really big shot just performing out there. um, but yeah, I mean, I think yeah, join the band was probably my first time performing.
Very cool. And I mean, if you don't remember, it's fine. But can you remember what that felt like being up on stage for the first time?
I mean, I remember I was really nervous. I really had to pee a lot. I think that comes with nerves, definitely.
Yeah.
I was sitting, I remember because it's a bar, but they obviously it wasn't a bar because it was just a bunch of kids playing out at the time. They closed down that section. It was middle of the day. But the back room, like leading on to before you go perform on the stage, it was super, super hot and crowded and tight. And I was just sitting there and I'm trembling because I always get like huge like performance anxiety. And then they're like, no, you're going to do fine. You're going to do fine. Because there's like counselors there or whatnot, instructors. And I think I just blacked out for like the first like minute, as I usually do the first time I perform. And it's just like an out of body experience, really. You sort of just see yourself singing up there, even though you're doing it at the moment. And it's not even that you're experiencing it. It's like you're seeing it from afar.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I was an actor for 10 years and being in the theater is different because you walk out, it's probably similar to music. You walk out and everything's black, right? You don't see the people, you
Mhm.
don't see their faces. So it wouldn't bother me at all to be on stage and I don't have a lot of fear already, but I did stand-up comedy 4 or 5 months ago, and that is insane because the lights are on and people are watching you and you're on stage and I mean, if you don't tell a good joke, nobody laughs. And you tell several jokes and nobody laughs, and you're like up there, you know, I guess you wait for applause at the end when you do music, and sometimes people yell like "woo" when you're doing a song or something, but
Mhm.
you don't really get any feedback in comedy. I mean, you do if the joke hits, but sometimes you're up there for a minute or two and it's dead silent. So it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
That's like my worst fear. Like I mean, I've never done comedy, but I would never want to do comedy, especially for that reason. Because just the
Hmm.
idea of like walking out there, putting your all into it, and then getting nothing back is like the worst thing that can happen. I feel like that's where like the root of like all like performance anxiety and butterflies in your stomach come from. It's the idea that nothing's gonna happen.
Right. Um, so the music video. We've talked about this a little bit. So I don't even know how this happened. So let's hear your perspective on the music video, because all of a sudden, did your dad just come to you and say, "Amy's crazy cousin wants to do a music video with you"? Like, how did it all happen
Somewhat.
from your
I
perspective?
mean, um, well, I just dropped my first single.
Hmm.
It was the first song that I actually produced and completely did by myself with no help from like outside producers or outside like songwriters, even though. And yeah, all on Logic Pro, my first time doing everything. And so I just dropped it. I was like breathing a sigh of relief. We done it all in like about 1 week because it was for an organization. At like this internship I was working for at the time. And so I was just glad for it to finally be over, just so I could take a breath and go to sleep. And then my mom knocks on my door and she's like, "Hey, so I have this cousin," and it sort of just took off from there.
Right, right. So I'm just curious. I didn't really get to ask you this. So your dad and you went out, and it was it just like an hour that you shot stuff, or did you shoot it all weekend, or how did you? Because I sent you a list of shots that would be great, but your dad said you already had a list that was similar, and everything was great that you shot. So I'm just curious about the process before we show the music video. How long did it take you guys to put it together to shoot it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say over the weekend we shot it all on my dad's phone. Um, I mean, for the most part, we had to split into 2 days because it was so hot that we couldn't be outside for that long, or else like it just felt like I was melting.
Yeah.
So we ended up having a 2 day shoot, and the majority of it, I would say, was done outside, which is why it could have shot it in 1 day. But yeah, I mean, I think it just started. They're like, okay, let's write a list of like mundane things that
Mm,
you have to do, but you know you hate doing. And so like I'm just sitting there, I'm writing down a list, and we come up with like 20 or so ideas, including the ideas that you sent us. And then we
right.
just worked our way down the line, like filming each of them. Some of them turned out better than others. Some were slightly worse.
Mm.
And uh, yeah, it was just a lot of it was a lot of uh,
Trial and error, or trying to figure
trial
stuff.
and error.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
just
Trying to figure
trial and
stuff
error,
out.
trying to see which one. Because I mean, I know that we're not really photographers. I know I certainly am not.
Right. But your dad's worked in TV, and I have to tell you,
Oh, he's worked. Yeah.
I've been a video editor for 25 years, and I've gotten a lot worse footage from professionals. So I did say, like, can you pan away into it or
Yeah.
away and move? And your dad did that, and the stuff looked great. And then I just found some effects, and it came out great. It's a great song. That's what you need first. And then putting the images on it and doing the mundane stuff just makes it kind of fun. So, is there anything else you want to say before we play it?
I mean, first, I just want to thank you for editing because
Yeah,
I
you're
know that this
welcome.
wouldn't have happened. Yeah, I definitely did not have a music video in the cards before this. So, um,
Very cool.
I mean, first music video, yeah.
And I'm going to tell everybody to look right here. It says turn sound on, playing a sound clip, because 60, 70% of the people who watch this stuff watch it on mute and watch the captions. So I always have to tell them to turn on their audio. So turn it on. Let me turn that off, and then we're going to play the music video. This is actually, have you shown this on YouTube or anywhere?
I haven't. I'm actually going to release it I think this week I was waiting until we started the podcast and
Yeah, very
to
cool.
actually
Thanks
put
for
it up.
that. Yeah, so this is the premiere. It didn't have to be, but this is the premiere, the first time anyone else in the world is going to see this music video.
Mhm.
It's called Same Shirt, Different Day. It's very cool. This is Ryann Eve.
I'll wear the same shirt Sunday as I did the day before. I don't have nothing on Monday, so what's one day more? I'll keep my same sweats Tuesday, 'cause they fit my physique. I'll wear the same clothes till the end of the week. I'll keep washing the same old shirt. I'll keep walking the same old dirt. My clothes may wrinkle and shrink and look strange, but I have no plans to change. I've worn the same shirt Wednesday as I did the last month. I had the same dish Thursday as I do every lunch. On my way home Friday, I took the same street. I'm a creature of habit, rewind and repeat. I'll keep washing the same old shirt. I'll keep walking the same old dirt. My clothes may wrinkle and shrink and look strange, but I have no plans to change. I'll keep wearing the same old shirt. I'll keep bruising and feeling so hurt. People like me keep our shirts all the same. We have more than one, but we never change. I'll keep washing the same old shirt. I'll keep walking the same old dirt. People like me, oh, we never change.
Very, very cool. Awesome video. Awesome song. That is so cool, Ryan. Okay, so we're just going to add a couple comments to the broadcast. This is, I know it's your mom, but she says, great video, Amy.
Thanks, Mom.
We also have Nicole saying, love your music, Ryan. You have a beautiful voice. So I didn't even realize this, but it just dawned on me. Are you playing all the instruments on this?
A majority of them, yes. I mean, I'm a piano main. I played piano for 7 years. That's how I write all my songs. That's how I write all my music. The majority of this was done on Logic, which means I could just use a synthesizer to create the sounds. However, when it actually came down to writing the parts and to like, for example, like writing the drum line or writing the bass line, we have instruments like around the house that we would use to actually write it. Like you can't probably see it from here, but I have my bass back there. It's this old like Steinberger. I don't even know if they sell them anymore, but it's yeah from like Tears to Peter.
Yeah, we
So
can see it now.
yeah,
We can
yeah,
see a red guitar,
red, yeah,
a black
great.
black bass, and another acoustic.
This thing, yeah. This is
So that's how you
my
wrote the
bass.
bass line.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I use I'll write them on like their respective instruments, and then I'll just use a synthesizer, or I'll use like hook it up to my piano and just write the lines on there. But when it actually comes to brainstorming and creating them from nothing, I feel like it's better to use the instruments. I mean, it creates a completely different sound when you're actually playing it versus playing it just via software.
Right. Yes, that's what I've heard. I've worked with a lot of sound designers, a lot of composers. There was this one guy at Turner. I used to work at Turner, and he had this whole room with all these keyboards and guitars, but then he had a separate room. He had a voiceover booth too, but then he had a separate room where one time he had a whole chorus come in and it had a drum set and a standing bass, and he could actually make like an entire song for TCM or the NBA or whatever. His name was Reed Hall, and he was so talented. It was absolutely insane. But that's so cool that, Prince did that. Bon Jovi did that. They played all the instruments on their songs. And I don't know if you know the artist J. Cole. Do you know J. Cole? He's like a rapper.
I'm not.
Well, regardless,
No, I'm not.
he does this thing where he plays all the instruments for his songs, and he's like you. He uses Logic or Pro Tools or something, and he just has this little baby keyboard. And actually, Charlie Puth does the same thing. He has his computer and his keyboard, and then there's this band AJR. I think they're out of
I
Brooklyn.
love AJR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
No, I
so
know
good,
them
and
too.
they make all their music in their living room on their laptop, and they just plug in a guitar somehow and plug in a bass and do the synthesizer sounds. And like Drake buys beats from people, and certain rappers buy beats from people, but these guys, their music is amazing, and I'm like, you don't even need a studio anymore. You can make this stuff at home. But yeah, that song is amazing. The video came out great. So let's just take a little sidetrack here, and I'm just going to ask you, who is your favorite musician? It could be singer songwriter, but who is your favorite?
That actually comes pretty easy because my favorite singer is artist really is Fiona Apple. She is like my inspiration. She's how I developed my voice. She's like the first time I heard her music was the first time I was able to realize, okay, that's the direction I want to go in. Like that's like someone I want to emulate really.
Very cool. And are you a fan of her famous song there? I forget what it's called, or do you go deeper into her albums and like the entire albums?
Probably I've fallen in love with like every album except for I think it was Extraordinary Machine. It's one of her less popular ones, but I've listened to all of it. Especially she just came out with a new one called Fetch the Bolt Cutters.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
was it was ridiculous. It was amazing. Yeah, I mean I definitely a little bit obsessed, I'd say. There was a point where I would just listen to her music. It was unhealthy. I wasn't getting like any variety at all, but I'm definitely heavily influenced by her.
And are you into, because like I'm really into Billy Joel's lyrics, but Prince's music. Are you into are you more into the lyrics when you listen to a song, or the music, or both?
I mean, at heart, I'm always going to put the lyrics of a song above the music itself. I think it's because I myself prioritize lyrics above sound because, I mean, I'm a storyteller, and it's all about like what the song is actually saying to me. A song can have like the most fantastic like bass line or chord progression I've ever heard, but if lyrics are subpar, then it's definitely not going to be up there for me. And I think that's what does it with Fiona Apple. It's that her lyrics and her emotion is just so raw. There's no like, it's not overly produced. It's not it's blunt. She doesn't hold back.
Right.
She's not worried about anything about being like commercialism or anything like that.
Okay, and I just have to say, you're so mature and you're so smart. Like I'm so amazed by young people today. My children amaze me too. My son is trying to do computer engineering, and my daughters are trying to be doctors. And all I wanted to do is like eat Doritos and take naps when I was your age. Like I had
want to do that.
Yeah, I just didn't have the ambition. I mean, you guys are so brilliant. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it's because you have very smart parents. But but yeah, what I was going to ask you. Oh, so this next song, Another Sip. You have to explain it to me. You have to explain the deepness of the soul that you have, and you're almost like a 40, 50-year-old woman that plays blues, or I hope I'm not insulting you, that
Oh no,
plays
that's
blues or jazz or something. Like I'm like, how does this young woman play this music at her age? Like it seems so soulful. Is that something that, how does that, because you're influenced by different kinds of music? I mean, it's so different than the same shirt song.
yeah, the same shirt was actually the first time I wrote in a different genre. This is my usual genre.
Okay.
It's because I'm actually trained in jazz and Motown. When I was little, I auditioned to get into this place called the Conservatory in Los Angeles. And I mean, I didn't think much of it at the time, but I ran into this wonderfully, like, fantastically talented woman named Pamela Vincent. And she is a R&B singer, background singer. She's sang backups for like Aretha Franklin, for example.
Wow.
And yeah, she is fantastic. And somehow she took me under her wing. And when the conservatory ended, I just went off to lessons with her. And I mean, everything I know now about music is one way or another connects back to her. She taught me
Okay.
about, yeah, all like my love for soul stems from her. That's actually my goal in the future is to bring is to modernize soul and to bring like the like old soul, old Motown, jazz, blues, but bring it into a modern era, like with alternative and pop influences. I think that's the sound that I want to go for. And
That's very cool. Did you see La La Land?
I did see La La Land,
Yeah,
yes.
because that's what John Legend's character is trying to do, and Ryan Gosling is like, dude, this is jazz, leave it alone, and he's like, no, we have to modernize it and make it, more accessible to young people, or else nobody's like, people are stopping to going to jazz clubs and stopping going to. And I'll just do a little aside so you could take a break and drink some water. So I went to school in Boston. I went to Emerson College, and there was this club, and it was at the bottom of a basement apartment, and it had old jazz musicians jamming to jazz and blues and bluegrass and Berklee College of Music students. So these kids were really young and these guys were really old, and they had pianos and stand-up basses, and you just walk in there and it was free, and you just got a drink, and it would blow your mind the way that these people could play this music, jazz and all bluegrass and blues, and I've just always loved that kind of music. I love Coltrane. Charlie Parker was a big influence on one of my mentors, who was an art teacher, and he played Billie Holiday, Charlie Parker, Aretha all the time in the art class while we would draw and make stuff. So I love jazz, and it's not that I like this song any less. It's just totally different, and it's really interesting that you want to make it modern, because you can do the modern stuff and the, I don't want to say older stuff, but the more traditional music,
Yeah.
jazz and stuff like that. And it would be really cool if you had a song that brought them both together, because these are two very different things. Is there anything you want to say before we show this Another Sip video?
I would like to say that I think for the video you're gonna play, my piano's a little bit iffy on it. I wrote that song the day that I performed it out, so that is like the first time I've actually played it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I literally wrote it, and I'm like, oh, why don't we go to an open mic? And so we went to an open mic, and yeah, that was my first time playing it. So piano's a little scratchy, but
Very cool. Okay, here we go. Another Sip by Ryann Eve.
I drank a bottle of insecurities to keep it from spilling. They said it'll go bad, bottled up, but my bottled up feelings feel so filling. So I took another sip. I thought maybe I'd like the taste of it. Then I spat it right out. My throat was going through a drought, so I took another sip. They said, don't eat your sorrows, or you won't have any leftovers for tomorrow. But I set the table, the napkins, the plates, and I was still hungry after I'd already ate.
I'm thirsting for my shot of success. I got a hole where my stomach's supposed to be, so I fill it up with emptiness. I swallowed down my pride and then I started to choke. Oh, I probably deserved it. Oh, I probably earned it. Whatever was clogging up my throat. So I lay gasping for breath, wanting to water down my worries of emptiness. No matter how much I sipped, the water didn't touch my lips, but I still took another sip. Oh, I've been starving, I've been thirsting for my shot of success. I got a hole where my stomach's supposed to be, so I fill it all up with emptiness. Yeah, I've been starving, though I eat till I'm gonna implode, knowing full well I will never be full until my body feels like it's about to implode. I take another sip.
Very, very cool. That's a great song. I can't believe you wrote that day. That's so amazing. This is so nutty. So, yeah, there's Pam Lind. Hey, Pam. Pam's watching. She says, yeah, I love you. Hey, cousin Pam, how are you? Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Somebody wrote, Ryan, here, Alone by Tracy Chapman. And it's somebody from Twitter. It doesn't say, oh, you know what? Maybe their name is Alone. That's weird. Hello. She said she loves Tracy Chapman, so I'm going to add that to the broadcast. That's great. Tracy Chapman's amazing. So is there anything else you want to say about that song?
I mean, that's actually I have like out of the extremely long and repertoire of songs that I just throw together in a book, I would say that's out there in like my top 3. So I'm really glad you played it, actually, because that's
Cool.
definitely the sound that I want to go for, and it has the lyrics that I want to go for again. I mean, I basically just sat down at a keyboard and wailed into like the microphone, because I record all my stuff on my phone, and then like all my lyrics while I just play the chords, and I'll say whatever comes to mind for like 10 minutes straight. And then I have the pleasure of going through it all again and hearing like all the lyrics I said before. And sometimes it'll be like gems that I'll throw in, and that's how I write my lyrics. But I feel like that's one of my most like honest songs to date.
Very cool. It's a great song. So let's talk about, well, let me just tell you something before we go to advice. I had a guy on the show last Thursday, Jimmy Guthrie. He's a sound designer, composer. He does stuff for HBO Max and Turner and all these big companies. He's super, super talented. And he has a band called Space Giants. And we couldn't play the music because on the show, if your band or you are with a record company, they will shut it down. And any copyrighted music, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn will turn it off and not let you post it. They'll literally like block it. So this is something that's very cool. I mean, you're at the beginning of your career, and we get to play your songs because you haven't signed with a record company yet. Very soon.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Very soon. Okay, so let's wrap it up, Ryan, with advice that you would give. I know you're very young, but you have done a lot of stuff, a lot of songs, videos, and you're very talented. What would you tell people that are that either have children, or I don't know if you could tell a 5-year-old, but someone who's younger, 10 or something, that wants to do this, what would your advice be?
I mean, usually I'm the one looking for advice, but I mean, one thing I've definitely learned, for better or for worse, is you have to play every single day. I mean, if you're gonna like dedicate your life, as I plan to do, to music or to a specific craft, then you need to put your all into it. And even if that just means like sitting down for like 3 minutes and scribbling onto a napkin like some random lyric ideas, or slamming your hand at the piano even if you can't play, as long as you interact with music just once a day, you'll be set. I mean, it's all about like keeping the passion alive.
Very cool. Yeah, I have a friend, Bob Jurgens, who's a comedian in New York. He also does voiceover now. He has a 10,000 hour rule, which I thought was very interesting, that you have to work at something for 10,000 hours to get good at it. And it's a basic, time to get good at something. And I've heard lots of different opinions about it. But yeah, I think what you're saying is totally correct, is that you have to do it every day. And it has to be, your passion has to be something that is never a chore. It's always exciting. It's always like, I love to do this, whether it's, carving wood or making music or whatever it is, playing piano. So this has been great, Ryan. This is so cool. We saw a few of your videos. I am going to, like I said before, make this into a podcast in a couple of months, and that will be on Apple and Spotify and all those places. Right now, this is going to be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and you can share it yourself and copy paste it. I know you did some Instagram stuff with a clip from your music video. And this Geek Vibes Nation, check it out, because they're also going to post it. They'll post this tomorrow, and they'll post the audio podcast also later. And they have a huge reach, a huge audience. And if you go to their Geeks Vibe Nation Entertainment podcast page, click on YouTube, you'll probably see this video tomorrow. And then if you click on Apple, the Apple icon, in a couple months, you'll see it there. And this is going to help out this podcast a lot. So, thank you so much for doing this. This has been so great.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and
Thank
it's
you
so
so
cool.
much.
I always tell people, like, I worked with this guy, Wayne Johnson, for 10 years in an edit room, and I found out things about him that I would have never known if he wasn't on the podcast. Like, even though we sat together for hours and hours over years, he told me about his childhood. He told me about his upbringing. And the interesting thing is, you guys are out in LA. I'm in Atlanta. I've tried to do a family reunion. Amy knows, a couple times, with Tara and Anna. Hey, Anna. But it hasn't worked out. We kind of did a virtual Zoom thing a couple months ago. That was really fun. But yeah, I saw Amy with my brother in San Diego just quickly for a few hours. And like I said, your dad was on the podcast. So it's just good to meet you and say hello. What is your sister's name?
Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina.
Say hello to Sabrina. And
Okay.
and hopefully we'll all meet someday, and you can meet my kids, Natalie, Sam,
Can't
and
wait.
Skylar, because they're brilliant just like you are. All right. I don't want to embarrass you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, take care and good luck with everything. I will be watching, and I know a lot of people will be watching to see what happens with your career, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks. Bye-bye.